Who's interested in educational AI? The government certainly is.
Hi, I'm Casey Wacker. I'm a teacher in a rural community who gets to work with students from 9th to 12th grade, and even those who are entering the college sphere, who are in college writing and college public speaking concurrently. And I have a master's in communication and composition, as well as a master's in administration. And I'm here today with
Sandra Weiser Matthews, and I am lucky enough to get to work with educators that are just becoming educators, that are going out to do their student teaching, and they're also getting it at a master's level because they've had a career in something else. And then also with learners, they're getting their master's in education as well. So surrounded by educators, that's for sure. And I have a doctoral degree in critical pedagogy, taking a look at education through race, class, and gender. And though I've taught in a rural area, I now teach in an urban setting. So with the combination of Casey and I, we have latched onto AI, and it's attached to us. So, and it really is both like wherever we go, whatever we do, and what we're thinking about, and what we talk about. So we're here to really think a lot about AI. And we recently came across the important convening of leaders that I'm going to let Casey talk about in a moment, that got together and like who was missing at the table, who was there, some concerns we have with it, and so forth. And in our show, we really like to make sure that we provide both pedagogy as well as tools. And I think today we're talking a little bit more about just background pedagogy policy, probably. So Casey, tell us a little bit about the study, or not the study, but
yeah, thanks. I was thinking about this. I came across the White House inclusive project that they're working on. Basically, it was early December. A group of individuals ranging from educators to politicians to administrators of some kind. They're working together to try to sort of grapple with or understand AI in education. And really, this group sort of needed to convene, I think, to focus more on computer science, which I think is really, really wonderful, because I see that as a way of learners being creators of AI and recognizing that we're not all just sitting behind the screen letting things happen. Some of us are creating that content. And so I was really excited to see that. And it said that this group was about 60 or so teachers, advocates, officials, education leaders. These individuals are there, but I want to know, like, who really was there, right, Sandra?
Yeah. Was our policymakers there, our leadership teams, whether national education or, American Federation of Teachers, like 60 teachers? I'm not sure what that meant. But what we did find interesting in this meeting was that they labeled like who was really there, like leaders of corporations, leaders of cybersecurity.
Yeah, the National Economic Council, the U.S. National Science Foundation, officials from the Office of the Vice President, Office of Science and Technology Policy, Office of National Cyber Director, the National Space Council, Department of Education. So we have all of these companies and organizations coming together. And, it's just like, oh, to be a fly on the wall. I want to know what those conversations were about. I know that it stems from wanting to make opportunities equal or expressing some sort of equality for learners across the board, because we know technology inherently is aligned with inequity, right? Like, thinking about a person in a rural community, we know that we get the information a little bit delayed. Sure, technology has helped us. We all have the internet. We all have the ability to get there, but I'm not at the doorstep of, places like this to be a part of these conversations. And I'm not saying that I want to be, but I also really like to know what's going on, because I think these decisions that they're making in settings like that are going to affect my students, right? Like I
Our
understand
staff,
that.
right. Our staff are like what goes on. And yeah, it'd be really valuable to make sure that we have ongoing conversations in that area for sure. So that, and again, you know, the inequity is definitely there, but when it also comes to tools, as we know in education, you can use them to also allow personalization, to allow learners to get to, you know, use AI however they need to get to the level they want to be at. And so it's just so funny how it can be both. It can be inequitable and extremely helpful and equitable at the same.
Right. Well, and I think that's it. You know, you and I have talked about how in one of our more recent episodes about how the honeymoon is over and so many of these cool AI tools that you and I are just finding by going to the internet and even asking some AI things, what other AI tools do you recommend? Listening to podcasts and we're trying to stay in the know all the time. And that's us wanting the information. But what about the individuals? Like I was reading this Education Week article, and it was a poll about 1,000 teachers, and only 2% of those 1,000 teachers say that they use AI a lot, right? And like that's a hard to know what is a lot, but I think I use it a lot, and so I'm thinking, what a minority, right? And those teachers who are the 30% that said they don't use it and they don't plan to use it. I worry quite a bit about, that may be affecting them in their classroom, but that has that ripple effect. And now like students who are potentially interested in something like what, that group of people coming together at the White House, what they're talking about, our students are so far from that. Like they are going to miss so much because we as educators are resistant. But are we resistant or are we being held out of the conversations?
I would say it's both. But we do need to take on the role of paying attention, because that is, who's our government? It's us. Like we need to pay attention. We need to step up. We need to listen, and we need to realize that that we're either going to allow our learners to have knowledge, or we are going to withhold that knowledge from them. So again, whether they're writing a resume or getting into college or writing cover letters or doing math or doing coding or science or whatever it might be, are we giving them that information? Or are we holding it back from them? So again, it just, our government, again, our leaders are meeting, and it's not just them. The second, it's not just our government leaders, and it's now becoming almost on that list. We're more private corporations, companies. That is, again, we got to watch out for that, because that is maybe not in any of our best interest.
Right. And we got to keep that in mind. It is about the future of our careers. It's about the future of our students and the future of education.
So we just encourage keep watching and listening to our conversations, but also please go out there and play with some of those tools, see what's going on, at least at the local level. I always say, think globally, but act locally, right?
Yeah.
So what are we doing in our own classroom with our own learners to really help? And then also, what are we doing to keep an eye on, or to help, or to just pay attention to what leadership and also corporations are doing?